And welcome, folks, to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And, folks, we got a great show today. We got a couple of things that we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, and what else can he do that's so idiotic and he's so incompetent. And also, I want the people of Chicago to see what your so-called governor, J.B. Pritzker's doing against the citizens of Chicago and the state of Illinois. So if you ain't got nothing to do, call your friends and let them know. You're listening to Let the Truth Be Told Radio. I'm your host, Pastor David. Y'all come on in. Welcome to the talk show, Let the Truth Be Told. I'm your host, Pastor David. And first, let me give all praises to God and my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I want to welcome everybody to the show. How can it get any more idiotic? To the American people and patriots across this country, we can see right now that if President Trump had not got into the office, the Democrats would have sacked this country with illegals using the Trojan Horse effect. Now, if you don't know what the Trojan Horse effect is, let me explain it to you. In Greek times, the city of Troy was a fortified city. Nobody could get inside its walls. But as it began to have wars with other countries and the other enemies could not get inside the wall, they created a Trojan horse. Because the Greeks were so excited about gifts, they created this horse and built it and put it outside the walls and left it. The Trojans grabbed the horse and brought it inside the walls, and at the middle of the night, the other Spartans came out and they sacked the city of Troy. That's what the Democrats have done, like Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, the Brandon Johnsons, the J.B. Pritzkers. The Democratic Party has tried to destroy America from within. The billions of dollars that have been stolen through Minnesota is only a mirror of what we're going to see. The same tactics working from the inside, stealing, abusing systems that the Americans created to help other Americans, not illegals. So what we're seeing now is the biggest scandal ever in America. And the Democratic Party is in front of all of it and behind it and all over it. To the American people and patriots across this country, especially Black people, let us stay focused. Let us support President Trump and Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice and all of those who now have found this scandal and is going to have to stand up for righteousness and do the right thing and deport all of these people out of our country and try to recoup the billions of taxpayers' dollars that's been stolen and spread it across the United States and other countries. And in saying that, let me get my panel in today. Hey, Doc, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Let me get Mr. Binky in. Mr. Binky, how's it going?
I'm freezing.
It's cold.
It's cold. It's cold in Georgia too.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. It's cold all over, man. But the coldest thing that I want to say to the American people and patriots across this country, man, this scandal with Minnesota and what the Democratic Party has done is costing us billions of dollars. Your thought, Doc?
Yeah, it is. I mean, the scandals and it just keeps on going, you know. I don't want to say like let the good times roll, but it's like let the fraud roll. These people are out of control. Like every other day it's something else. You know, there's alleged allegations of money literally being transported through the airport along with passports. And TSA can't do anything about it, and Customs knew about it and still allowed it to happen. So these are bigger questions that we have because that affects DHS, that affects the FBI. I mean, it's everywhere, but it's proving one thing. Okay, Democrats, we know that 80% of you work within the federal government. So what's really going on?
Mr. Binky?
Yeah, well, sadly to say, Democrats want a bigger government. When you get a bigger government, you open the door to this kind of fraud. I mean, we got to fund this, we got to fund that. Well, we ran out of here, so we got to come up with emergency funds. And this is what you end up with: is when you give too much power, you give too much unsecurity in what they're doing, because they're funding themselves. We're just a bank here, and when they want more, they give themselves more, and then we get to pay more. So until we start jumping in here and doing our job and getting government back down smaller the way it should be by following the Constitution, ain't nothing going to change. So
they need to overturn the 16th Amendment and stop taking income tax dollars. That would give the hugest haircut ever.
Yeah.
Well, you know, here in Chicago, there is no logic to Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker. The people of Chicago and the good people of the state of Illinois need to recognize that these two politicians were about sacking our state and overrunning the cost of everything, and then passing on the tax dollars to the American people and the people of Chicago. Now, here in Chicago, this idiot, and I can't, incompetency, but it's all done deliberately. See, this is all part of the program of the 2020 and 2030 agenda that the Democrats have concocted to create this massive influx of migrants and theft of money to create a new world order. That's what this has been about. And so it got caught. They got caught because God, what you do in the dark comes to the light. God is showing the American people who the real enemy is in this country. And now, even though Brandon Johnson is acting like he's losing his mind, he is right on point, because what Barack Obama put in motion here in Illinois was to be able to continuation of steal funds through the city and through the state of what J.B. Pritzker is doing. And so the other day, a budget came up, and I just want to play a clip, guys, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Here we are, you know, Brandon Johnson want to get a bill passed, still trying to steal more money for the illegals, not being upfront with the citizens of Chicago. And then he tried the old Obama Hail Mary pass. When all the bullshit don't work, just cry.
Of course. When all else fails, be the victim.
And listen, here we go, y'all. Check this out.
today after his beloved corporate head tax proposal got nixed from the city council's alternative budget proposal.
There are lines of Chicagoans right now of people who do not have food, you guys. And if you've never gone hungry, you wouldn't know why I have that urgency. If you've never opened up your refrigerator and there's nothing in it, poverty sucks. Corporations are making a killing right now, and we have alders that are more interested in defending these big corporations than families like mine who went without food and electricity and could not afford rent and mortgage. Get me something I can work with.
Maybe acting's in his future? I don't know. Well, this head tax he's got so emotional about is his genius idea to fill a massive.
Okay, guys, we got to talk a little bit about that before I play some more. Your thoughts on this? This was the most asinine acting job, but he really don't care. Doc, give me your thoughts on him.
I have children. Okay, 3 girls, and they used to get in trouble. Because they're kids. I remember them doing stuff like this when they would get in trouble. They would just go into this whole thing, and I'm like, stop. You need to accept responsibility. You did this. You've caused this hunger because you have decided to harbor people illegally in your city and take the resources from those people going hungry that you so talk about, that you say you care about, and you gave the resources to them. If you don't stop, oh my goodness.
Mr. Bakey.
Democrats have created the mess, and now they're crying about it, and they want help. So we make a problem. Now we want to fix the problem, and we want to raise taxes for you to pay for our problem we created.
Right, but the solution is worse than the problem it solves.
It always is. Right? When people want government to do things for them, you're putting your hand in a fire.
Yes, you are.
And then when you start crying that it hurts, you start pouring gas on it, waiting for government to come and fix it still.
Right.
So you keep burning yourself, and you're making the fire bigger. And now you got people like Brandon Johnson and Durbin and Pelosi and all the rest, Schumer, all these guys, it's a big corporations. They're making all this money.
Yeah, you take away the regulations to help the corporations, but at the same time, you need to enforce them not to hire people illegally that are here, right? And you don't harbor illegal aliens. See, this is a lot of what illegal immigration does. I grew up in California, and it ran a lot of corporations out of California, even in the 70s, because of policies like this.
I lived in San Antonio, Texas for about a year, and I worked at a gas station, and a Mexican construction company, Cortez Construction was the name of them. They'd come in and buy their gas in the morning. Every day they complained about the illegals coming here and taking their jobs from them. And I'm telling you, they didn't have nothing nice to say about Mexicans, and they were Mexican. So there's a problem.
Well, there's a lot of people that have gotten here into this country from Mexico who have become citizens, who came through the proper channels. They did what they needed to do, and they became citizens. I would be highly pissed off too if I came from Mexico and I spent the money, the time to become a citizen. Now all of a sudden we got people coming in from Venezuela and everybody else coming into the United States illegally and trying to force the American people. They're doing it. They have forced the American people and patriots across this country to take care of their ass. The Democratic Party brought all of these people here and told them, what do you think? See, Minnesota is just the tip of the iceberg. That money has been coming back through the Democratic Party, Ilya Omar is guilty of it all. She's the kingpin in this fraud who married her husband. But anyway, we're going to get to that in just a second. But what I'm saying to the people of Chicago, Brandon Johnson is really trying to pass the money that they have stole. See,
right. You were saying, you were like, I don't know how he's going to try to figure out how to get it back. But people, they want to double people's property taxes. There was
they
a man,
already
I think
have.
his property tax was $9,600. Now it's like $19,000.
No, wait a minute. This is so funny. And to y'all house Negro preachers in Chicago, let me send y'all a message. Y'all been kissing Brandon Johnson's ass, and you've been getting that little chump change money that he been giving you under the table. Reverend Miller, Sanders, Ira Acura, all y'all Negro preachers who don't have a relationship with God but using his name. I saw you on TV crying and hollering and bitching about how your taxes went up. But you're the same people who helped Brandon Johnson hide illegals in your churches when you wouldn't even go out and help the people of the city of Chicago that is homeless. And so now you crying about your taxes that went up. Well, guess what, buddy? This is what you helped create. And the people of Chicago should not feel sorry for you. That means what you gonna do now? You got to go up on your tithes on people to recoup the money you lost. This is exactly, Doc, what I was saying a couple of years ago, that when they stole that $1.7 billion in COVID money, and now all of this stuff, the money they stole from the migrants, they done brought in all of this stuff. But when Trump cut that money off, they were unable to wash the money into the system so that they could justify the money that they stole.
If they're not getting no federal money to cover their budget.
Exactly.
No. So, and they're also not going to be getting any SNAP funding either, because they're one of the states on the list that have said that they don't want to be audited. It's like, how are you going to take federal dollars and then refuse to be audited? Are you serious? So USDA is like, until we get your audited records, no SNAP benefit. So I'm going to see how they're going to try to spin that and try to make it the government's fault.
Well, you know, what we saw in Minnesota is the same thing that's going on in every blue state in this country. Every blue state. It's happening in New York. And that was how Mandami's people had to built up a big old voters base so that they could put him into office. The same stuff. It's the same Trojan horse technique that's being used to rob the American citizens and patriots across this country and destroy the country from within.
Yeah, destabilization. It's like somebody was talking about a color revolution that's going on right now. I was watching Alex Jones, and it's like, yeah, it is a color revolution. They are trying to destabilize our government for a regime change. Like this happens in third world countries where we're going through. And people don't realize it. And they're like, well, what's going on and why? But then there's the other people that, they're just good-hearted people. And they're like, well, why can't we help other people? Because they're not trying to help anybody. They're trying to take over the country.
Yes.
Okay. That's what's happening.
And see, and this is what I want to say to Black Americans. Listen to me closely. We have already been put in a place where we are almost extinct. The Black family and the Black family structure is almost out the window. And that's because we've allowed the Democrats to continue to open borders and to bring more people into the country and help uplift them over the Black people in the communities that they come to from other places. And so Black folks, I keep telling you, and listen to me closely. Two things is happening here. One thing that's happening is that these are the final moments to the Black community and Black structure if we allow ourselves to get caught up into this emotional tirade to help the Somalis, to help the migrants and everything else. This is a defining moment for the Black community, because right now we stand down from all of this foolishness. We're not helping the Somalis. We're not dealing with the migrants. And even though we are sitting in a very precarious position, we're sitting in a good position because Black people now can start bringing our own stuff in order. Under the leadership of Trump, we can start creating our own economics and our own community.
Yeah.
Now, President Trump is going to help us do that, but we can't continue to fool ourselves like Barack Obama, Michelle, and all of them. They're nothing but super grifters. They destroyed this country. They brought us to this place of war it's at right now. They opened the borders and they made the Somalis feel like they could do this. This is all set up by the Democratic Party and Black people. Now is the time for us to stand up and get our communities back and rebuild the family structure so the Black community can continue. Your thoughts on that, Don?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that we can do, and I really think that President Trump, he wants to hear from, the American Negro. I will say it that way, because there are some people out there, they're melanated. They are not Black Americans. Okay. That's why I say the American Negro, he's waiting to hear from us with a plan that will be a return on investment to this country. But it needs to start, and he has, with shutting down this whole immigration, mill. I'll call it a mill, because people have children on the soil that they're like, well, my kid's a United States citizen. Actually, they're not. We're going to prove that. And I'm so glad he brought that up to the Supreme Court, because now they have to deal with birthright citizenship. He's doing a lot of things to set up the American Negro for a win. But we can't just say, okay, great, he's going to do it all. Stop that. Stop it.
Yeah.
The Constitution says we the people.
Well, and another thing to look at too is, like just happened down in Miami. After 30 years, they elected a Democrat mayor. And that mayor is saying that she's going to be protecting all people, and if you look, New York just got done, Madami or Dumb all right, he's saying the same thing. You got a mayor down here. What the Democrats are doing right now, and this is what they've been setting up. Yeah. California, Illinois, now they're going to New York, now they're going to Florida and Texas, and they're going to the bigger cities and turning the big cities blue. Why? Because the vote power is at the big cities. Right. So they're overrunning the big cities, turning Dallas and Miami and New York and all that blue, because they know they can gain more power that way. And we've got to learn where these communists, socialists, anti-Americans, what they're doing, where they're going, and we've got to start figuring out how to fix that problem.
Yeah, especially at the local level.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think at the local level, and that's why I'm running for mayor of Chicago again, to the people of Chicago, it's time for common sense leadership. We need leaders like myself who are going to stand on what's right and not waver and not participate in anything that could harm the city nor the citizens of Chicago. That's my mission, is to be able to make sure that our citizens and our homeless population have places to live and we can erase homelessness. If all the money that the citizens of Chicago have spent on this foolishness with Brandon Johnson's and the migrants, we could have already purchased property and we could have ended the homeless situation in Chicago 5 times over already, especially with the money that is given to us in the federal government in the budget for homelessness. That we never see that money. And so
it's like, where does the money go? Because there's still holes in the road. You got dilapidated buildings. I mean, where's the money?
And that's the thing. Yesterday I had an opportunity to be on Steve Gruber's show. And I sent a message to President Trump about meeting with him. And that looked like that's going to happen. So I'm going to take an entire agenda to him. I wanted to talk with him to create a moratorium to open the prisons. We cannot let Black men and women and others who are in the prison system who went to prison behind this corrupt judicial system. You know, my prison ministry is all over the country, and I'm getting mail from men from prisons as far as California, looking and asking for opportunities on how that they can get free for petty crimes that they've been in jail for 20 years. You know, just like we did with Larry Hoover, been in jail for all those life sentences. But the point that I'm making is this. If the American people and patriots across this country do not open their eyes to see what the Democrats are doing, and they're trying to destroy this country, and we don't support President Trump and what he's putting down right now, because he's trying to save us, and we need to be trying to save ourselves, because the same people around us who are talking all this crap about, oh, we should be not, I shouldn't be doing this to this and doing that. Shut up. Let the ICE do their job, because they're trying to help keep Americans free and keep the Constitution in place. Doc, I'm going to play a little bit more of this thing, because I think the people of Chicago need to understand about this head tax and what Brandon Johnson was fake crying about, all of that ridiculousness for nothing.
2026 budget hole, which would charge companies with more than 100 employees $21 per employee per month. Now, it's part of his larger $600 million proposed tax increases for the year.
For more, let's bring in Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez. So, Raymond, I know how much you love the city of Chicago, and none of us, not at this table or where you are, want to see anybody go hungry. Is this an issue of not being compassionate, or is this an issue of not balancing a budget?
This is an issue, guys, of how do you perform the best in order to sell the worst policy possible that's going to shift the burden of taxation away from downtown as you continue to chase businesses out, and put it on the property owners, the homeowners of the city of Chicago, who are already seeing a 16% increase in their property taxes thanks to his policies that have chased businesses out of this city. What the mayor doesn't tell people while he's tearing up for the cameras is that just last year he tried to stick homeowners with a $300 million property tax increase, as well as hundreds of millions of dollars in new fines and fees. He's doing it again this year, but in order for him to make that campaign pledge that he wants to tax the rich, this is the performance we get. It has nothing to do with helping everyday Chicagoans, because he had none of these tears when he was giving away $600 million to take care of 60,000 Venezuelan migrants here in the city of Chicago.
Also, just for the folks at home, you've got a D next to your name, so you're a Democrat, you're in the same party as the mayor here. You know, Raymond, so Seattle tried and then repealed a similar head tax in 2018, because guess what? Companies like Amazon threatened to withhold expansion. Why does he think Chicago would be any different?
You know, it's very interesting for me personally to hear Mayor Johnson talk about all of these failed policies as though they are somehow going to magically work simply because we have Lake Michigan right behind us. They are not going to work. We know what we need to do if we want to lessen the tax burden on working families is that we need to grow the economy. We need to invite businesses back. We need to put people to work. And his $21 a person head tax, while it sounds low, will cost company millions. Take, for example, our local grocer, Jewel, hires 35,000 people here in the city of Chicago. They would have to pay $7 million a year just for the purposes of putting people to work. I doubt they would stay just because of that.
All right, guys, your comment on that, Mr. Mankey.
I want to see his past voting record. I mean, we've got a Democrat crying about Democratic policies. How long, and this is just an accusation, how long has he been participating in that? And when's his next election coming up?
2027.
Here's a Democrat crying about policies from the Democrats. Is he a Kennedy Democrat? I want to see his past voting record, because I think he's part of the problem, and now he's crying about it.
He is the problem, Doc.
Yeah, I mean, he what he is he's a liberal. He's not a socialist.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Brandon Johnson is a socialist trying to play himself off as a liberal, right? With the crying tears. And the thing about Chicago is there's so much potential, but it's been surrounded with bad policy. And a lot of the policies that have been put forward, and there has to be an audit and an investigation because money has been wasted, it has been laundered, it has been misappropriated. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Chicago's fixable. They just need better leadership.
It is, and that's the whole key. And that's why I say, being the mayor and doing the right thing and making sure that the citizens are taken care of, the city is rebuilt back to the way it used to be, the shops back into the schools for our children to be taught. Yes. All of those things, social studies, so they can learn the history. The way that I grew up in Chicago and the education that I got, even in the public school, that's what I'm going back to. I'm going back to those days when you could go to a public school and get a good education and still get letters from colleges all over to come there. That's what we got to recreate that. And that's what's going to happen under my leadership.
Yeah,
but
the people of Chicago got to want it too, Dave.
They want it. They do want it, but you don't hear from them. You keep hearing from the socialist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
We started about a year ago, and I've been reaching out to a lot of the seniors, different organizations. As a matter of fact, I was called and was offered an honorary doctor's degree for the work that I've done across the country, man. And so the people of Chicago is ready for that change. They just know that they have they know that they have the bad leadership, and they get disenchanted because they feel that they don't know what to do from this point to change it. And that's what the leadership in Chicago has done, made the citizens feel hopeless, that they know that they're not going to help the citizens. So the citizens are in a place of saying, well, what am I going to do and what can I do? And that's what's making the change under my leadership, is that I'm going to involve the citizens again and to rebuild in the city and make sure we get our schools right. But it can't get any worse than what it's getting now, because to Chicagoans and the people of Illinois, what we're seeing with Brandon Johnson and the acting and the lying and all the rest of the foolishness, we're seeing it with the governor, J.B. Pritzker. So all of a sudden, here he is. He has not made any money. He has not tried to put any money in the Black community. He's been raising taxes on everybody up and down state. They're trying to cover this money that they've stolen regarding the illegals, and they're doing everything. They're doing everything to try to recoup the money. But the saddest thing, and I want the people, especially Black citizens, especially Black people across the state of Illinois, we have never seen a governor stand up for the Black community to help it. And now we have all these Black people in legislations, Kwame, the Attorney General, LaShawn Ford, Danny Davis. We got all these House Negroes saying they helping the Black community, but the Black people, where is the growth?
Right.
Where's the money going? Where is the help coming from?
Come on.
The West Side's still the same way it was in 1968 when they had the riots. It's only sparse economic development here, but Black people still don't get the services they need. So when we look at these people, and J.B. Pritzker talking about, oh, well, Black people is my people. He don't give a shit about Black people. They're trying to get this money, and they're willing to destroy the Black communities to get it. And that's why I'm going to play this clip. Check this clip out, guys, and we're going to talk about it.
The hospital will work to protect your immigration status. If you are a student, we'll prevent your schools from causing harm based on your immigration status. Child care centers across the state will safeguard your immigration information. All of these settings will now be required to complete organizational planning to uphold the rights of those they serve in the event of enforcement activity.
I love it. I love the fact that he is admitting to committing a crime for harboring illegal aliens. He is in violation of Title 8, Section 1324.
Yes.
Complete violation, because he said we are going to protect your immigration status. Period. Right there.
But see, black people need to really see what he is doing. He is trying to force illegals back into the black community.
Exactly. Because where else they gonna go? They ain't going to the
Where else they gonna go? You know what I'm saying? And so that's what we're saying. Let me play some more of this and so you can look at it some more, Doc. We can talk about it. Nothing he has done for black people.
Nope.
Nothing. And he don't care about what black people think. He's forcing it down because he got the elite Negroes working with him to do what they're doing right now and to keep everybody silent.
I see him speckled in the back.
Yep.
I see him sprinkled in the back, you know.
Yep. And you know what? Okay, Doc, let me get him out of here. Talk about
disgusting. That. It's disgusting. It's sad. But those individuals, they keep thinking, okay, as long as I stick with this person, I'll be safe. As long as I play the political two-step, I'll be safe. You're not safe, okay? Because Illinois is probably far worse than Minnesota. They're just better at hiding it.
Yes, they are really far worse than Minnesota because of the fact that
there's not sloppy.
At least what the Somalis did was took care of their own people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you said, was it something amongst thieves?
Honor. There was honor.
Honor amongst thieves. Yeah, because they got brand new cars, people walking around with nice purses and all kinds of stuff. I was like, wait a minute, you ain't even working. You on welfare. How you got a new car in front of your house? You're getting HUD. Like, how do you have all this new stuff?
That's because they spread the wealth around in their community. Once they were able to create a little small Somali in Minnesota, and actually, I heard some Somalis talking about, well, the Somalis came to Minnesota back in when the old Columbus days and all this other crap. They're trying to justify them taking over a city and abusing our programs.
Yeah, they're hilarious because nobody in the United States looks like them. Nobody.
Doc,
nobody's got your features.
We got
stop that.
They sure don't. Check this out, Doc.
And you know who's not a lumberjack is Tim Walz.
Definitely not. No. He wears camo, but
yeah, he wears camo.
I have a feeling he can't handle a chainsaw.
I've even seen him in a lumberjack shirt, but he doesn't quite fit the bill. And it's gotten so bad with the roiling scandals going on in Minnesota that he has either turned a blind eye to or for some reason has turned a blind eye to. That even some of his allies are saying that his political career is over. Former Minnesota State Senator and political analyst in Minnesota. This is, who is this? Ember Reichgott Jung, saying he is clearly vulnerable and, in my view, is riskier than any Democratic candidate that might run. Anonymous longtime ally of Walz's in Minnesota, a different person, said, it's clearly a real vulnerability. Even suburban dads would bring it up to me over the summer.
Which is interesting because this news of this fraud has been circling around Minnesota for a while, but it's really broken open, and we're seeing the scale of it. It's now the biggest fraud case in America. Over $1 billion. There's probably more to come, more things to come out of this as well. Was it incompetence? Was there some skimming of money off the top, and sort of putting a blind eye to it? We don't know. But the investigation is going to continue. The DOJ has promised to get to the bottom of this. But Griff, everyone's trying to wash their hands of all of this. They're going to throw the Democrats in Minnesota are throwing Tim Walz under the bus and saying that's on him. We don't know how far this goes. So.
Well, the question is whether or not Walz's administration was at best incompetent or at worst complicit in allowing this unprecedented fraud going on. Meanwhile,
Doc, your thoughts on Tim Walz?
Yeah, well, see, the thing about it is, well, here's the thing. The fraud started happening around 2009. Okay, that's pre-Walz. So he inherited fraud and never stopped it. Does that make sense? So it was like it was going on in the previous administration. When he got there, it was just a part of the culture. And he's continued it. So he doesn't have any excuses because there were whistleblowers that came to him and they did shut it down. So now, his whole thing was, well, if there's an investigation, come on and find it. Really? Because your fingerprints are going to be all over it because it happened before you even got there. Okay, Ilhan Omar, she tried to CYA with a letter saying, yeah, we saw the frauds in the legislation that I wrote and helped to get passed. By the way,
exactly.
And then she calls out the guardrails after you wrote the legislation. You already knew it was there because you wrote the legislation, or you just didn't read it and you just wanted to slap your name on it. Like, which is it?
No, she did it. They all knew this was a strategic plan to steal billions of dollars. Once they let her get into office, she was the person that steered the money through. Tim Walz was also part of it because he signed off on it. And so this is exactly what I'm talking about, Doc. And the American people are being so uninformed, and the media. Yeah. Where is investigative reporting, that used to happen in investigations?
These people are TikTok influencers. No, they're not journalists. They're influencers. There's a difference. Because see, true journalism leads you to want to further investigate. So even when I'm playing my videos on even on my own show, I further dig in and I'll go to Grok and I'll research, because I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Let me put two and two together. And a lot of times they've tapped into something, but it's like, are we asking the further question? Journalism has lost its place because people want the clicks and the likes, and they don't care if they're telling the truth.
We're going to take a little bit about some of the more
convictions include domestic violence, trespassing, assault on a peace officer, damaging property, and the list goes on. But there's a whole handful of them. You've got Sharif Abdi, a gang member. Convictions include fraud, vehicle theft, multiple probation violations. Osman Shadani, convicted of criminal sexual conduct with a minor aged 13 to 15. That's a child. Muhammad Ali, convictions include domestic assault, fraud, robbery, and larceny. Finally, Muhammad Omar, charged with 2 counts of domestic violence. These are not the best of the best. They are, as the Trump administration says, the worst of the worst, and yet Governor Tim Walz is defending them. Meanwhile, the deputy ICE director, Madison Sheehan, on this program yesterday says they're going to continue to go after these criminals. Watch.
We have an operation going on in Minnesota right now to specifically go after the Somalis who have broken laws in this country, who have come into this country illegally, and continue to wreak havoc on the American people. Our officers are out every day arresting gang members, murderers, and rapists, and truly the list goes on. And people like Governor Walz have let this guy run free in his state for years, and it's time that we put a stop to it. Democrats continue to choose to protect the people that are locked up in our facilities, people that have broken the laws by coming into this country and then perpetuated laws against the American people after that. Secretary Noem, President Trump have taken the handcuffs off our officers so we can put them on the criminals, but we enforce the laws that are on the books. We do not pick winners and losers. And the Democrats continue to think that the real winners are inside the fences at our ICE facilities, and that's not true. It's the American people that have been victimized by alien crime for years.
And
Doc?
Well, I mean, they've got a new face. They've got a new interim ICE director or deputy ICE director.
Yeah.
And I'm glad, because Tom, he's a hands-on kind of guy. I like seeing Tom on camera, but I'm like, I look at him, he's like, I just need to get back on the street and get stuff done. Right? Because that's just who he is. But that's who his heart is. I mean, I'm glad for what she's saying, but actions speak louder than words, and the American people want action. But see, what keeps getting muddled is you have these individuals that are activists that are literally attacking ICE officers, and that needs to be shut down. There needs to be repercussions. If people stopping their cars and standing outside of the facilities the way they are, there needs to be like a whole SWAT team to come in and just handcuff folks. Well, we're just protesting. If you are on this sidewalk, We are arresting you immediately. And that will teach people, stay behind the barricades. You can shout all you want to. You can do whatever you want to. But it's when you start interfering with their jobs, and we've seen the videos, that's when it has to stop.
Well, you know, it's just like with Governor Pritzker right now, signing papers to protect illegal migrants in our state.
Right.
He's doled $2.5 billion for the migrants to get free education here in the state of Illinois. Yeah, $2.5 billion for them to get educated and all sorts of stuff. I mean, and we still have people that are barely making it. The Black community is almost gone. And this is why I'm telling Black folks, we got to wake up. We got to stand up right now, because if he continue to push, they're just pushing the illegals into the Black community, giving them houses, doing all these things, man. And the Black community is on the verge of being completely misplaced, displaced, and destroyed because of the bad leadership. Let's hear what Laura Ingalls had to say.
Alert Twisted Tim, because there's an ice storm blowing in. And his little fur hat and his boots aren't going to protect his sanctuary fantasy for Somali refugees who are ripping off the American taxpayers.
You know, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country. Fraudulent visa
Liberal Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry was all emotion today.
Our values and our commitment to the Somali community, to every community of immigrants and people in our city, is rock solid and will be unwavering. But we need to also be demanding better from an administration who is intent on targeting people and committing so much time, energy, and money to terrorizing certain groups within our community. That's not American.
Always protecting the fraudsters. Joining us now, Border Czar Tom Homan. Tom, this is amazing, right? We have American taxpayers, including Minnesotans, being ripped off billions of dollars sent to Al-Shabaab and a terrorist organization in Somalia. We got all these other fraud schemes, autistic children, and Jacob Fry's worried about protecting the immigrant communities. Your reaction tonight to this? This is madness.
And to say those and to use his own words, we're terrorizing the community. Are you kidding me? I mean, we're out there looking for illegal aliens and illegal alien criminals. And look, we've done operations in Twin Cities, but you know what? The uncoverings of criminal activity that Secretary Nolan just talked about just elevated their priority status. So yes, there's going to be an increase of activity up there, and we're going to hold people accountable. We're going to enforce the law without apology. So again, I've told every sanctuary city mayor, governor, you can stand aside and let us make your community safe and remove criminals and even legal aliens that commit crimes that make themselves, that they're a resident alien, they commit a certain offense, a felony offense, even they're deportable and they'll be deported. We're going to enforce the laws of this country without apology, including in the Twin Cities.
When do you expect ICE to make its presence really known in the Twin Cities, Tom? Approximately.
I can't forecast that. I don't want to give up operations, but I can tell you that Secretary Noem's all over it. I know ICE and CBP and other federal agencies, the FBI, DEA, ATF. President Trump's been a genius on this. He brings the all of government to these operations. So if we arrest an alien with drugs, you got the DEA right there can prosecute the case before we deport him. If you get him with a gun, you got ATF right there to prosecute the case before we deport him. But I can tell you, focus is there. It's coming. But I don't want to give a lot. I can't tell you how many people are on the ground now, how many people are going to be on the ground. I'll leave that to the Secretary of Homeland Security. But focus is on those Twin Cities more because of the criminal activities been uncovered by DOJ and DHS.
Doc, your thoughts?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of these blue states that took in the illegal migrants. Okay. So under the Appropriations Act in 2021, see, it doesn't run out until September of 2026. So that money has still been appropriated to these states. That's why they're still developing programs and trying to because they're getting paid. They're just not doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. They're not just going to be taxing the residents out of existence. They're making money off of these people.
Yes.
But again, they're making money off of these people. It doesn't mean the state and the other residents are benefiting. They're losing. And so when that money is going to dry up, that's why they were hollering. And that's why our government got shut down for 43 days, because they needed that $1.5 trillion to put back in the coffers outside of the ACA. That's a debacle, to keep this grift going. It's a grift at this point, and they don't want to lose, the money coming into these blue states. It's greed. It's horrible because it's not helping the American people. They have no honor amongst thieves unless it's amongst themselves at the 1%. They're not taking care of anybody. They're not even taking care of the migrants. All those people back there, to me, they're like central casting folks. You know what I'm saying? You were paid to be there.
I'm looking for this video, and we're going to play. Let me open this up.
Go to the hospital.
Where did Mr. Binky go? He got a phone call.
Yeah, he had a phone call to go to. But to the American people and patriots across this country, this is really an operation that has came against us. It's again against the American way of life. It's what we worked hard for, to build this country, and now we got people here that's in the country that does not want to conform to the American way of life. And I think that's what the problem is. You back down there, Binky?
Yeah, I didn't expect my lawyer calling today.
Oh, okay. I was like, it's an important call.
As a state, so
yeah, you give me your thoughts while I find this video. What you think about what's happening with Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar? Go ahead.
Well, it's just like any other Democrat. They're getting caught now, and they don't know what to do. And it's always with the Democrat, you could count on two things: it's about power and it's about money. And they ought to do an audit on these guys and see what kind of money's sitting in their bank too.
That's what they're doing, man. I found this clip. We're gonna play this and we can respond to this.
And I apologize for being away.
Don't worry about it, man.
Guys, you're not going to want to miss this one. Woke liberal Somalian Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has over the years said she is Somalia first. Well, now she's facing a possible deportation and she is losing her mind. But take a listen to the way she's been talking.
jawaabteedu waxay ahayd dowladda Mareykanka waxay ka qabanaysaa wixii annaga aan dhahno dowladda Mareykanka qabo. Waa kalsoonidaas inaan isku qabno annaga Soomaali haddii aan nahay. Wadankan annaga ku nool. Wadankan wadankii aan annaga tax ka dhiibno waaye. Waa wadankii gabar idinka dhalatayne ee Congress ka fadhiso. intii aniga aan Congress joogo wadanka Soomaaliya biyaheeda dad kaleeta iyo badeeda dad kale ma qaadanayaan. wadanka Mareykankana kuma taageerayo dad kaleeta in annaga ayna dhacaan. marka taas ka seexda reer Minnesota gabadhii Congress u dirsateen way idinka war haysaa sidaad idinka u dareemaysiin dantaas ay u dareemeen. madaxweyne xasan shiiqna
xildhibaan Ilhan Omar oo magac.
Doc, your thoughts on that?
She is not covered by the speech and debate clause. Let's just talk about it. Okay. You're not covered, ma'am. You were at an event that had nothing to do with Congress. And yet you were talking about how you are going to protect a whole nother country from within the United States, and the United States will do what you tell them to do, and they will dare not do anything else. Guess what? You can be deported, because we had a mass deportation in the early 1900s for people who did not align with the Constitution. You are not safe.
Vicky?
That's exactly right. She's sitting there. She's committing treason, actually, if you ask me. And I've already, I messaged my representative here, and I says, you know, what we need to do is start up the Un-American Activities Committee and start monitoring these cities and organizations here. And if they are a threat to our republic, not our democracy, our republic.
Come on.
our form of government, our
Yes.
ideals, our
Yes.
traditions, they need to be gone. And
Yes.
that right there, everything that she said in that proves that she is not for America. So she needs to be decitizenized and
Denaturalized. Yeah.
deported and gone.
And the thing of it is too, with her being in the open like this, you know, what bothers me the most is now that she done got caught, and now that the Somalis have been busted on the money and all the stuff, the whole enterprise, they're reaching to black people, telling black people, I'm black. Y'all black people need to help me.
Nope.
I'm black. I pray a little bit more.
No flat blackness. You're
Maraykanka laga
melanated.
doortay oo Kongresska Maraykanka ku jirto. Laakiin waxaan ahay gabar Soomaaliyeed, gabar idinku jinsi ah, gabar idinku af ah, gabar idinku diin ah, oo hadde qof iyadoo da'yar wadankeedii laga kaxeeyo wili xiise u qabto in maalin wadankeedii ay ku noolaato oo dadkeedii wax ay la wadaagto. Marka alxamdulillah waxaan rajaynayaa aniga iyo ilmahayga in aan hadde ku barbaariyo iyagana ilmahooda ay ku barbaariyaan dhulkii aniga aan ku soo koray. taasna haddii ay suurtagelayso waa hadda shaqo badan inaan wada qabanaa hadduu ilaahay yiraahdo oo aan ka dhignaa dhulkeena dhul barwaaqadiisa dadka oo dhan ay dareen.
Apparently when she
All right,
that
guys.
is never going to happen. First of all, her kids are too old. Her kids are grown, pretty much. You know, they're college age, you know what I'm saying? Or upper, you know, high school age. She's such a liar. It's that part. It's, you know, pandering. It's the pandering. You're pandering to the Somali community to keep that support, right? And then you're trying to disregard Americans while at the same time trying to plead the victim and say, well, we're black too. No, you're not. You are not a black American. That's why I use the term American Negro, because you'll never be that. Never.
Bink?
Yeah, I mean, again, she's promoting a culture that she came from, and trying to embed it here, which is nothing but division.
Yes.
So I mean, we're supposed to be called the United States, and now we've and it may sound bad for me to say it this way, but it's the truth. When you allow other cultures to come over here and embed their culture here, it only creates division.
Right.
And
their cultures were banned. Their countries were banned from coming here in the early 1900s.
And it's hatred too.
It is. You know, they came here with the presumption that they were going to become Americans. And that was going to be able to learn the American way of life, to speak our language, to adhere to the structure of the United States of America, and become an American citizen. But to the American people and patriots across this country, we can see what the Democrats have done with illegal immigration. That started way back when, but I keep saying Barack Obama because Barack Obama did a lot of hidden deception to this country by allowing the Somalis to come here. It has been an open wallet for the Democratic Party through Minnesota. The USAA was nothing but a slush fund for the Democrats. The energy and systems programs that's across the country has been nothing but a slush fund for the Democratic Party. And all of the money that has been stolen are taxpayer dollars to the American people and patriots across this country. I don't know how you could sit back and watch what they did to the American way of life and still vote for people who support this type of criminal and hatred activity against the American people. Mr. Bacon.
Yeah. While you're saying it, I'm thinking this. How can people do this? The people are doing this because they want to. And we've got too many people in this country that want this. And that's because we've got people coming from other countries that bring that problem they left here. And the Democrats have opened policies up to allow them people to come here through the side door instead of through the front door.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. And guys, I'm putting up clips because I want the American people that watch this show to share it, and I want you to see the attitude that this woman has regarding the American people and our country. How is it that we've allowed a known terrorist to get into office in Congress and open up the financial institution to her people, bring them here illegally? Over probably 90% of all the paperwork for the Somalis are fraud. Everywhere that they go, they destroy. And yet she's still acting like that. We owe her something. We do owe her something. We owe her some prison time in jail before they deport her. Let's check this piece out again.
20 past the hour now on a Monday morning. The glare of the spotlight now falling on Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Questions popping up about what she knew and when about a massive COVID fraud scheme in her district. Talking billions, could be billions, at least $1 billion, could go higher. Mike Tobin's got more on that now. Mike, good morning to you. What do you have?
Well, good morning, Bill. And as you mentioned, Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has been in the crosshairs. She made the statement that there were insufficient guardrails to defrauded programs like Feed the Future. Speaking on Face the Nation, she defended against the fact that all but a handful of the suspects and convicts in this case are from Minnesota's Somali community.
This also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Analysts with whom we have been speaking say it's unlikely Omar would not have some exposure to the corruption. She introduced a legislation that created the program that was defrauded to the tune of $250 million. She also held a victory party in 2018 at a restaurant called Safari, owned by Salim Ahmed Saeed, a major player convicted in the scheme.
I think all this will be investigated very thoroughly because there's really a national spotlight on Minnesota and all its problems. I mean, this is a scandal that is by far the biggest in state history.
White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said on Friday the Somali fraud will prove to be the greatest theft of taxpayer dollars through welfare in U.S. history. And he says we have only begun to scratch the surface of how bad it is.
Doc, your thoughts.
Here's my thing.
Whenever she's still talking like she is innocent. She created.
She was completely lying. She was completely lying. All that body language, you know, feeling sunk in and head leaning to the side. You were lying the entire time. I watched that interview and I was like, you're lying. You're looking for answers because you don't have any. And the thing is, of course, she knew the fraud was going on because she was one of the people to point it out. But did she? And she also in that interview said, well, the FBI wasn't doing their job. So now you're placing blame on the Democratic FBI at the time this was going on, because this was going on in 22, ma'am. They found this in 22, not just now. It was happening when Biden was in office. So what are we talking about?
Mix the binky.
Well, you remember the guy named George Santos, the Republican?
Yes.
All because he lied about doing something and this to get elected. Here's a woman who is tied with and don't think she's the only one that was involved with that fraud.
Oh, yeah. It was a big change. Oh, yeah.
She's still sitting in office. How come they haven't ousted her?
They've been trying for years, but I don't think other people have something on her. She's protected. She is protected by Al-Shabaab. She's protected by a whole terrorist organization. Like, this runs deep. She was at USAID talking about, this, that, and the other. Yes. We know now where the money's been going, ma'am. Like, the whole jig is up, the whole jig. And here's the thing. We, as the American people, need to call the White House, 202-456-1111, or comments@whitehouse.gov. Email them, call them habitually. Make it part of your 12:30. I'm texting you again today to get rid of this woman, and they are going to have no choice but to address it. This has got to be a national call. We haven't gone there yet.
Yeah, let's get his bank account records here.
Right. But here's the thing. Is the FBI going to investigate her? Because like I said, they're still in bed with Al-Shabaab. Money's been going through the airport directly to Somalia. I'm sorry, you are not rolling through the airport with $1 million.
Well,
to just have $1 million.
See,
like, what are we talking about?
This is the thing that the American people are not well aware of. We're not well aware of all the rules that these different countries play when they come to the United States. They get immunity to do crimes in front of our face, and our legal officials can't do nothing about it. I read the article, Doc, that you're talking about. They took pallets, millions of dollars, pallets of money through the airport, given directly to the country of Somalia. Millions of dollars. And the TSA saw it, because now they're whistleblowing saying, we saw it, but there was nothing we could do. These loopholes needs to be changed when how people come into this country and their ambassadors who come here, and believe me, go ahead, Ben.
Let me ask you this. Why are they saying there's nothing they can do? But American citizens that are stopped by the police with large sums of monies, that money gets taken from them.
Confiscated.
It takes
immediately.
Yes, and it can take years to
get it back.
How's that so easy to do to Americans?
Well, this is the whole thing about it, and these are issues that we really need to address as American citizens. There is no way that we should be in this position to where we can have our property confiscated and taken if we make simple mistakes or if you got too much money in your pocket. But here we see somebody else can come to our country, they can commit crimes and not go to jail. They can steal, they can get on every program, housing program, welfare program. They can even create programs just like what Omar did, created a program and millions of dollars came through it. And she said, oh, I didn't know. Or they're telling us, well, you know what? We should have put some guardrails up in that bill so it wouldn't happen. But she wrote it herself.
Stacey Abrams?
All of them, same technique that they're using. It's all the Democrats, man.
But here's the thing. At the end of the day, like Mr. Binky was saying, this has to culminate into arrest. People need to go to prison. They need to lose their positions of authority in our Congress. Like Iceland, they shut this stuff down. They were like, oh no, you're not going to be up in here causing all kind of havoc in our country. You're going to prison. They sent 10 of their members of their parliament to prison. Okay.
I'm going to put some on the clip, guys. And this, I just got to keep showing her face, because this is the face that has used our system and became a millionaire, a trillionaire, and have given money to terrorist groups that's causing problems in the United States. And she's a congressperson. We, the people of the United States, should be pissed off. We should be supporting President Trump to close these damn loopholes, because all of this money that we have lost through these illegal situations with Ilya Omar, all of that money could have been reinvested and back into the American economy, and we would be in a better, stronger economic country than we are now. And now we're finding that most of our taxpayer dollars are being thrown away and given away, and yet we still got homeless people on the streets.
Were filling the cookie jar up, and like they knew people were stealing out of the cookie jar, and they just kept refilling it and refilling it and refilling it. And I think Scott Bessent makes an important point there. You know, we love immigrants who come to this country, but we need an assimilation process. We need you could have your own culture, that's fine, but a fervor for the American dream, a love for this country, an appreciation for taxpayer dollars, an appreciation for the values that bind us together despite our different cultures, backgrounds, languages, et cetera. I think that's an important point you've heard Besant make. Stephen Miller as well.
Speaking of Stephen Miller, so he has commented on this. We showed the clip at the beginning in the Hannity show. She responded yesterday saying that it's like talking to a Nazi.
When I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me, yes, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people in Germany. There have been many immigrants who have tried to come to the United States who've turned back, one of them being Jewish immigrants. We're yes, of course, ethnically Somali. We are in this country as Americans. Yeah. We are citizens. We are productive. Part of this nation, and we will continue to be.
You're not productive.
Well. Yeah, I mean, he's accusing.
Okay, so
over 60% of people are on welfare. That is not productive, ma'am.
To the American people, it's hard for me to watch this liar and a thief. She hates the country, and she's in a position to steal. And I hate the damn rhetoric. Well, it's just like what the Jews did. The Jews didn't have shit to do with this. It was you who stole the damn money.
Well, here's the thing, too. And I had to look up Nazi. I was like, you know what? Let me do a breakdown of this on my show. Guess what? Nazis were socialist. Let me say that again. Nazis were socialist. Okay. Liberals. Okay. Those were the people that wanted capitalism. They wanted freedom. All right. So whenever they call Republicans a Nazi, it's an oxymoron to me because they're not socialists, but the Democrats are. So let's just talk about that. Stop calling and saying white supremacy. Ma'am, you are married to a white man. You are married to Mr. White Man America.
Yes, he is. Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing? What you do? How do you go home at night? I don't understand.
Binky?
I can't say it any better. What just Dr. Nichols said. I mean, it's getting so stupid out there. It's just, I guess people just don't realize how stupid it is. They're so used to seeing this and hearing it so much. It's just everyday stuff now. I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah, the Nazis were socialists that committed genocide.
Yeah.
Do you know how evil that is to call somebody that? Like, I don't really think people get it. And I think people need to really start using their words properly. Stop calling people racist unless they were involved in an act of racism. As far as I know, Stephen Miller's not running around degrading other groups of people and propping white people up. That's a form of verbal racism. He's not doing that. So please stop calling him a Nazi racist. And he's Jewish, by the way. Let's just put that whole package together. I mean, she's weird.
What religion is Somalians?
They are Muslim. They practice Islam. And it's so intertwined that they see themselves almost as ethnically a Muslim. Does that make sense?
Well,
like they're Somali Muslims. It's not like Islam is my religion and I'm a Somalian. You know what I'm saying? They're both together.
Nazism was about supremacy, right?
It was about supremacy, but it was about socialism. It was about government control.
What's in Islam? Isn't Islam the people that were throwing gays off of roofs and stuff?
Yeah, they do. They don't like it, but here's the thing, and an imam said it best. He said, we will roll, I'm kind of paraphrasing, they'll roll with the Democrats because the Democrats don't mind killing themselves off. So they're like, we'll play the long game and take over the Democratic Party because they're killing their babies, they're sleeping with other people, they're doing all these things, but we don't want to go up against somebody like Donald Trump and the Republicans because they have values.
But didn't Islam also say that they're going to take over all the religions around the world?
Yes, that's their jihad.
So ain't that Nazism?
Exactly.
It is.
It's the form of it. I mean, it's a form of it. It is a form
of it.
So there's socialists too.
It's the same structure and the same.
It's the same strategy.
It's the outcome. The outcome's the same, just a different name. Nazi.
Just a different name.
Yeah. But they want to dominate. They want to take over, and they want. They only want one. What was it? Hitler wanted a certain perfect race.
Right, Aryan. He wanted an
Aryan
race.
nation.
There you go.
Yes.
But then you know what? I tell people, because there's a lot of things that happen with Germany and the whole Jewish thing, man. I tell people to do their research. And in order to get a strong, positive decision and thought and find out what happened, that needed to be researched from all sides. What America's role was, what the German role was, and everybody else that was involved with that, because it's more to that picture than the eye can see. And I tell people before you start talking, do some research. I want to play this last piece and we're going to get out of here, guys.
He accuses Stephen of being a Nazi. Stephen's Jewish, first of all. Stephen's a great person. Stephen's someone who loves this country and is working hard for it. And Stephen and his family have been totally and completely under fire and accosted with all kinds of threats for doing what they're doing. It was the day after Charlie Kirk's assassination that Katie Miller was stormed by someone outside of her home who said, "I'm watching you." There were wanted signs up by their home in Virginia accusing him of crimes against humanity. They have been under threat. And as Stephen Miller said, it's an organized campaign of dehumanization, vilification. And that's what this is. It's organized. They're being called Nazis. It's just not Ilhan Omar. It is others too. And it is shameful rhetoric that should be toned down.
Thank you, Kaylee. Nice to see you on Monday as always.
Good to see you.
Making a
See you
straw
soon.
man.
Guys, your thoughts on it? We're going to get out of here.
Yeah, it's the making of a straw man. Because if I can dehumanize you and get other people to see you as unhuman, if something actually happens to you, I feel no pain. And so a lot of the rhetoric that is out there, and I don't give the Republicans a pass. It's like when somebody throws a stone, you need to catch it and not throw it back. Right?
Mr. Binky?
Yeah, well, the people that are pointing the fingers and doing all the crying are the ones that is creating the problems. And I hope people, after just listening to Omar, I hope they understand that when a Democrat opens their mouth up and cries about something, it's because they started the problem. And if you're going to fix the problem, don't go to them to fix it. You be the one to fix it and start paying attention more to what you're doing. You know, when you vote for somebody, you're voting for your own throat to get slit. You know, I'm sorry to have to say it that way, but that's what's happening is people like her and the rest of them that are out there just putting this country down, name calling, crying.
Yes.
Oh, I'm in poverty and stuff. They're living higher than we ever thought of.
Oh, absolutely.
And the sad thing of it is, just like both of you guys are saying, you know, they put Stephen Miller at risk. And she made it seem as though he was a Nazi and all the other stuff. That's the type of rhetoric that is used against the American powers that be, because they've got caught, they've stolen the money, the jig is up. You know, this is going to run deeper than the American people think. I got from some sources saying Barack Obama is trying to get the hell out of America and do a deal with Australia. All of the Democratic leadership that has continued to lie and steal, now that Trump is opening up the doors and we can see who the thieves are, it's time for the American people to support that and help us locally. I got you, Bink. And help us rebuild our cities. Mr. Binky?
What you just brought up, Australia. Australia just passed the first law ever in this world to ban people 16 and younger to get on the internet. And Dick Durbin and a couple of other Democrats are pushing for the same thing here.
Yeah, it's more, it's like the social credit score in China, but even worse, it's a digital ID. And it will go back to your IP address, and they're trying to pawn it off as, we just want people to be safe that are under 16. No, you don't. You want digital slavery. Come on now. Come on now. We all see this coming a mile away if you don't stop.
You're 100% right. It's all about safety. So we'll create whatever law we want. We'll do what we want because we're there for you.
Coming up with a problem. I mean, coming up with the solution worse than the problem that it solves.
Well, what the Democrats have done and to the American people across this country, it was the Democratic Party that created all of this mess.
Yep.
It was created by them. Then they created programs like you say, Mr. Binky, to make it, to try to fix it, but then they abuse the programs and steal money out the programs to bring it all back to their pocket. And all of this money that's being played is the taxpayer dollars of the United States citizens of America. Your last words, Doc. We out of here.
Yeah, so everybody, thanks for joining us here on Let the Truth Be Told, and definitely check out the Redemption Party at usaredemptionparty.com. We are looking for candidates to be servants of the people and also members of the party. So again, check us out at usaredemptionparty.com.
And we'll be seeing you later, Doc. Mr. Binky, your last words.
Well, I hope the people watching can pass this on. We're trying to give you information. We're trying to get you to look into what's going on in this world and with your life. And if you can't start questioning what goes around you, you're not going to have much of a life left. We're going to be controlled. It's up to you to make that. And just listen and look at what we're saying. That's all we ask.
Mr. Binky, thank you. And we'll be talking soon, my friend. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning into the show. We're here at Let the Truth Be Told Networks. We're trying to ensure that the American people and patriots across this country get the truth. That's why we take the time to break these things down and explain it to you so you can understand the situation that we have. All of these corrupt politicians will put our country at jeopardy. These are my last words. It is time for the American people and patriots across this country to understand the situation that we're in. Our country has been attacked from within. We've allowed migrants to come over here and get into places. We've allowed them to abuse our systems, take our money, change the culture of the way we live, attack our children, bring drugs, child trafficking. We've allowed immigrants and those who want to see us fall, destroy our school system, our economy. All of these things are happening because the American people went to sleep. And we didn't ask the main question, the one question to our politicians is why. Moving forward to the midterms, I do not see how one American citizen can trust what we've seen out of the Democratic Party and what they created. The Democratic Party, just like they've done throughout the history, they created the Ku Klux Klan for Black people. They destroyed Black Wall Street. They created welfare to control Black people. They created the prison system to incarcerate Black men and destroy the Black family. They've given money to every other organizations, Black Lives Matter, the Somalis. All of this stuff that we have seen in our country has been perpetrated by the call of democracy by the Democratic Party to the American people and patriots across this country. It's time for us to stand up and demand. We're demanding the President Trump and the Republican Party, what's left of it. We're demanding you as the American people and patriots across this country to do what you have been elected to do, to remove the cancer of the illegals and those who want to destroy this country. We're commanding the President of the United States to stand up and fight for this country and continue to do the things that President Trump is doing, because had not President Trump figured out that the election was stolen from him and the Democratic Party had got into office this last term, this country would be at war, and this country would have gotten sacked because of all the illegals and the corrupt Democrat leaders who are in office would have destroyed this country. So I'm urging the American people and patriots across this country to stand up with President Trump, to fight the evil that we see, and we see it, it's in our faces, so that we can continue and return this country back to some integrity and honesty, and return it back to the American people, American first, so that we can make this country great again. God bless you. Thank you. Tune it, share it around to the people. And again, we must put God first. God bless you.